take it away.
Yes. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the Link Up Podcast with your hosts, Mistuh King, Kana Woods, and Rashid in the building.
Yo,
Kalissa couldn't make it here today, but keeping the energy going in spite of her. And hopefully, one thing y'all can notice is my audio is a little better this time. So, we trying to do this podcast the right way. But yeah, today we're gonna be passing it off to Kana because in the theme of, like I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, and us trying to bring more structure and whatnot into the episodes. Today's theme episode is gonna be led by Kana. So Kana, could you give us more detail on what we're gonna be doing and talking about today?
so one of the main topics I would like to discuss today, at least, is, for lack of a better term, social responsibility that let's say podcasters have. So what I mean by that, I mean, like, okay, so obviously I'm going to use the link up as a main example. Do y'all think we have a social responsibility to, let's say, our island, or our, well, yeah, our island, St. Martin, and in Wood's case, Aruba, to quote unquote report or talk about what's going on the island, or let's say even up here, so that we live in Amsterdam and stuff, and we live in Amsterdam. So do y'all think it's our duty to talk about what's going on, or do we have all the freedom we want to just have our own, how to say, do our own, yeah, basically do our own stuff without adhering to what's going on around us. I guess we're gonna start off first with what's on my little laptop, since you're on the far left.
Um, I mean, if you're using ourselves as a reference point, I
Mm.
would say just because of the way the nature of the podcast is. Um, but it also really depends on what's happening. You understand? You don't have to address everything, but if it's something that's really like affecting your people in some type of way, again, I don't think you are obligated to do something,
Mm-hmm.
but if you have a platform and you have the means to address a situation or talk about it, it would be I would eh, it would be a little bit like a shame if you don't use it to like shed light on something or at least give your perspective into something just because you have the audience. Not everybody has the means to talk to people in a broad spectrum.
But then, with that being said, would you think that, like, let's just say if your podcast, or if your platform only having like 25 people per view, is it that important? Obviously, people, not that many people care about what you have to say.
I mean, yeah, but a lot of people don't have even 25 people listening to them.
That's even more to thing to my point. So, like, if that's the thing, like, what's the point of me talking about, let's say, for instance, Black Lives Matter? If, like, if I don't feel like talking about it, I only have 25 people. Like, what's the point?
I mean, I get what you're saying, but it again it comes down to if you have a somewhat of an audience and if it benefits you to talk about it, not benefiting you directly but benefiting either the people you are standing with, then it just helps your audience to know where you come from, especially because when you're a quote unquote, even though you don't have a big audience, but you are selling a product the same way we expect certain companies or whatnot to show their allegiance to be like what, because you are a product. That's what you are. If you have a podcast on social media or whatnot, if you have something on the internet trying to entertain people, you're a product,
Mm.
regardless of what you think or not. So
Mm.
your audience, even though like, because your silence also says something. So if you don't, It really depends on what the topic is. So if you're using Black Lives Matter as a topic, if you're not saying anything, not even a quick like times are rough right now, things are going on, like we are going to do the regular show, but we need to address this first, and then we go on with the regular show. Like, if you don't do that, then people that then you not saying anything also says something. So it really depends on what what are your yeah. Black Lives Matters is a very tricky subject because that like not saying anything also says something in that specific case. Let me just say
All
that.
right. I gonna come back to you with that one, but just because I want to hear the other 2 points, we gonna continue. King,
I had a question basically, and is like, does it matter if a Louis Vuitton or let's say some luxury product or a clothing brand says Black Lives Matter? Like, is that something
that's,
that we actually care about, or
No.
like,
It
well,
let's say H&M,
well,
for
it's
example, a
maybe,
place where
it
maybe yes, maybe yes. I was going to say initially no, but thinking about it, yeah, it does make a difference. But it's a hollow message if they're just saying Black Lives Matter, but then within the company they're not enforce or they're not implementing that same mentality as well.
yeah.
because I was just watching another one of the Joe Budden podcasts, and he was talking about Complex. There was this lady who used to work at Complex and wrote this whole letter and stuff. Complex, being a platform for everyday struggle, if you're not familiar.
Yeah.
But basically, we're showing how Complex putting out these Black Lives Matter statements and saying how they stand in solidarity with the movement, etc. But then she's talking about there's a whole lot of instances that show that they don't really value black people. And these is other conversation I've been hearing people talk about, where it's like black people constantly skipped over for promotions, or like in the corporate space in general, not just at like a complex, where you have black people working at a place for 5 years, and some white person who is less qualified comes in and they get promoted within no amount of time, type of things. Basically saying that y'all don't really value your black employees, type of thing, or black
Mhm.
life within your company, but you're trying to put up this statement that is, like you say, kind of basically a hollow statement.
But this is why I'm kind of like I still because here's where you come in with the tackle then because when they say something and this comes out then you can address it. But if they say silent, this does not come out, and then people will not even know that this is going on to
Mm,
begin with.
mm.
So I would rather them come out and support something, and then people put fire under the ass to be like, "Oh yeah, you support us? Well, let's see if you really support us." You understand? Because that's the only way you're going to find out what really going on is what's going on, what's not going on. Because if they stay quiet, then it's free for us to assume the other thing. You understand? So I would rather them to just say something for me to know. Okay, how are we gonna tackle this situation? You understand?
I,
Okay, I have a question to respond to that. Let's say it's a company that you already support, you already buy from. Let's say, since you're a music person, back shop music place. Like,
Yeah.
if they don't put out a statement saying Black Lives Matter, does that mean you don't shop with them anymore, for example?
But that's the thing. It depends on. Look, for example, with Bucks, yes. Like, would I like it if they do it? Yeah. I mean, like, hey. But at the same time, like, I'm not expecting Bucks to do anything. But those are not the
Hmm.
companies I'm looking at. I'm looking at, like, even though, like, yes, music. I'm looking at certain industries that specifically the music industry, where if you look at the history of music,
Hmm.
like from rock and roll to rap, all created by black people. So when it comes to specific industries, I have a more razor eye look at them. If you look at the clothing
yeah, but
industry,
but
I'm looking at them specifically because when it comes to looking at clothing trends and stuff like that, it's the black community that sets the trend that everybody else follows. So certain companies that go to black people specifically to promote their products, I'm looking at you when it comes to Black Lives Matter because you've been profiting out of the black community to begin with. So
mm,
when it comes to Sony, when it comes to these companies that profited off of black people, I am looking at the statement from you because Sony made a majority of the money from Michael Jackson to begin with. So,
Yeah, was he really
like
black?
certain, huh?
Was
Kana, come on, let's get serious, guy. We know what Michael Jackson is. I understand what you're trying to say, but we know what Michael Jackson is. He's
The
black.
Jackson
All
Fives,
right.
like all of the like when it comes to certain things, like I I'm more razor focused on certain companies because they've been profiting off of black people. So if you look at
okay.
the Netherlands, for example, like if what is this radio name
5-3 Funx.
Phoenix. If they didn't come up with a statement, for example, I'd be like, what?
Hmm.
You understand? Because I expect it from certain companies. I expect a sort of reaction. I'm not expecting a reaction from Chick-fil-A. You understand?
But then, if equality is the goal, shouldn't it be a blanket something throughout all big companies?
Yes, but
So
equality.
whether they directly benefit from black people or not, they should at least have black people in those companies as well. Don't they
Yes, I
also
get.
have a chance? Don't they also deserve to be looked after and be like, hey, why nobody thinking after you as well?
Yes, I would prefer it, but like that's not the situation we're in. Right now, we're fighting, and it's a ideal words
Ideological.
ideological war, basically.
It's what about what's the camera?
Yeah, so it's a war in ideology. You understand? So like we need to know because for a lot of people thought that or prior to the protests and stuff happening, for example, a lot of people had the idea that okay, like the US, the majority of them are just racist and stuff like that. They don't really care about black people like that. Or like there was a lot of shit going on. So like right now we need to know or we needed to know where we stand. Like how how many people actually support us and how many people just fake supporting. And the only way you're gonna find out is by everybody making statements and then showing receipts. Now, if you're making a statement and you're showing the receipts, your actions
Okay.
behind those.
On that note of what you mentioned, like the action and stuff like that, there's certain people like Michael Jordan and whatnot that pledged to donate 100 million to particular black causes over the next 10 years. What do y'all think about an action like that? When you think about 100 million, it sounds like a lot of money, but over a span of 10 years, and I don't know how many organizations. I don't know if it's like one particular or let's say 10 particular organizations, because that might break up that amount of money even further. Like, what do y'all
Well,
think about stuff like that?
okay, let me just go first and then give the floor to everyone else. When it comes to Michael Jordan, I mean they both greats. When it comes to him, give him 100 million. For him, that's a lot. And the man has a
Is
lot
that
of
is
money.
that a lot for him?
Yes,
Like,
his company. No,
because
because
considering how much he
there's a
has, the
difference.
man
No,
is a billionaire.
I
Like, is
understand.
that really a lot of money for Michael
Does
Jordan?
he have a billion in cash or does he have a billion in estate
You
or
could
businesses?
Google that now. Michael
No, no,
Jordan is a
no.
billionaire.
Yeah, but
Like,
cause some people they're billionaires, but they also look at like the estate he has, the product he has. They
mhm.
accumulate all of that, and he's
Some of it
worth
might be
billions.
assets and you're
Yes,
worth a billion, but either way, if you're worth a billion, you have
a
more than a
million.
hundred
Yeah,
million
but
somewhere.
yeah,
Like,
I
you could
know
sell your
obviously.
cars, sell some stock, something
Yes,
to
but
turn that into liquid cash that is worth
that's well,
a
okay.
little more.
Let's say he's worth a billion, and he gave out 100 million. That's 10% of his worth.
Okay.
Like if any other company gave 10% of what they're worth,
I feel you. I feel you.
would be way more than a
Yeah,
hundred. Like that's why like we like the,
was I understand your analogy if he was
a
given
lot of
everything.
people, yeah, a lot of people don't even give 10% of what they make to charity.
Yeah, but again, Woods, 100 million, yes,
I did
even
not.
for a billionaire is a lot of money. But you have to understand too, what was what I find was the important thing in that whole story was over 10 years. Now he
Yeah,
going to make that back. He
yeah,
before 10 years, he been done that.
but no, I get what you're saying. But before you give out a large sum of money, you have to first vet to see, okay, are these charities I'm giving the money to? Where's the money going to? All that
That's
stuff.
true.
Because a lot of companies gave money to Black Lives Matter, but they gave it to the wrong website now.
Mm-hmm.
They gave it to a man that just had a charity called Black Lives Matter, and not the real Black Lives Matter Foundation. So I would rather, instead of him, like, in a span of 10 years, yes, make sure the money you're giving out goes to the right things and to the people that actually are supporting the cause, and to maybe give it to um, colleges for black children to actually be able to go to college, stuff like that. If it's something like that, and it's in a span of 10 years, and he's if let's just say he's doing it for people for black kids to be able to go to school and stuff like that, and if it's in a span of 10 years, then yeah, then it's going to be able to help people for 10 years to be able to go to college or whatnot. Like it really depends on where this money is going to, and maybe that's why it's taking 10 years. Because if it's for colleges and stuff like that, then I get why it would take that long.
Hmm. But basically, like that's a somewhat of a tangent from the main question. But it's like when it comes to donations like that,
But no, well, Rashid, how you feel about it? Well, MJ, Michael Jordan specifically. I forget MJ is also Michael Jackson. Um, yeah.
Uh, so 100 million over 10 years. That's 10 mil a year.
Mhm.
Initially, like to me, it don't really sound that bad. Just to me, like I know he's worth a whole lot more. I
I
don't know.
mean, it's one of those things where I don't want it to like come off and misconstrue what I'm saying in the sense that I'm ungrateful and he shouldn't. It's just like
Because
I don't,
how
I
much
don't
would be
know.
enough?
Like, because to me, that's the thing is like when it comes to my general standpoint on donations and philanthropy, charity is like nobody has to do this. So it's like whatever
Yeah.
you decide to do, if you decide to contribute 100,000, 10,000, is like you didn't have to. Nobody, you wasn't obligated by anybody to do anything. It's like it's your money, you made it, you free to do and spend it how you want. Like it
Hmm.
ain't up to me. I feel like if you do have it, you should feel a little bit more compelled to give back in some kind of way. And
Hmm.
however you feel is enough to do it. Because this is something that's come up many times with different crises and whatnot. Different celebrities donate a certain amount, and then there's a whole bunch of backlash because people feel they don't donate enough. And it's like, who is
How
you to
much is
tell
enough?
anybody? Yeah, who's you to tell anybody how much to donate? But I'm just thinking, like, when I see these donations, I just, I don't know how much it changes. Because like when it comes to like donating money to charity, I know a lot of this it kind of feels like hollow statements again to me because a lot of this is just okay, I move some money around, it's tax write-offs that I benefit from in a certain way too, while it's just kind of good PR for my company. Let's say Jordan brand, Jordan in particular is one of those people that had with this last documentary and stuff like that and other things, how much people was going into him in particular with the last dance. Is like you needed to do some PR to kind of rehabilitate your public image a little bit regarding certain things on black issues in particular. Cause that was one portion of the document that they kind of focused on how he didn't support a particular candidate that was running at the time and how much his endorsement could have potentially helped sway that election versus endorsing the racist thing. And then you made some comment about conservatives buy sneakers as well, and I was like, all right, Jordan. And that's kind of why I look at this somewhat. So I'm thinking from that history, maybe I'm pessimistic and cynical and just trying to see the negative in it. I know
Mm.
the money certainly will help whoever it is that is going to, but
But I think it's kind of like a Woods. I started to more understand what Woods was saying before with the whole you're looking for certain people, like certain companies more than others. Because when it comes to like black activism or anything like that, I'm not looking for Jordan.
hmm,
Jordan, just like King was saying earlier, Jordan has historically showed that he doesn't give a shit when it comes to these kind of things. When it comes to even support, not even a tweet or social media post, nothing like that. Jordan has always been silent, no donation or nothing like that. So the fact that all of a sudden now, because this thing is a big social thing that's going on in the world now you want to give, now you want thing, but like nah, move from here. Like I ain't really give a shit. But like King said as well, on the same end of that coin, if he is giving, anything would be beneficial. Again, my whole thing is giving money. How hearing all the stuff that happened in the past, doing a little research I have about it. and looking at the stuff that I have witnessed as well, giving money is not enough. Like people could give money, give money, give money, but obviously, of all of the decades that have passed after money is given, I mean, can we say it has helped in any bit?
It hasn't helped because at the end of the day, the only thing that actually makes change is
Legislation,
the
legislation.
people, yeah, the people that's in the government, and
Yeah.
that's the thing. Like, like right now, like there's hope, fellas, or at least hope in the U.S. in the sense that the right now, like our generation and the Gen Zers, the generation after us, we getting old, fellas, um, are very are more susceptible to people lying to them, and also research way more than our parents did,
Mm.
telling
Yeah.
us what people say and what they do. And this whole situation with Corona and Black Lives Matter and all of that has people a lot more laser focused to the candidates they're voting for, at least in the States. So November is going to be very interesting. That's all I have to say.
Okay.
just just to add on to that though, like the change is not only something that is states happening, because some of the ripple effects is like it going on here and affecting us in the Netherlands too, where I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if y'all was following, but there was a whole controversy with like Veronica Inside, and one of
The
their they have a
boycotting, yeah.
I was checking that
like,
out. Give a quick thing what I was about though.
because to my knowledge it started with during the Black Lives Matter protest on the dam. During that, there was Akwasi, who was a Dutch rapper. He had made certain statements, and there's a show. I don't remember the name of the show, but Johan Derksen, one of the commentators of whatever show it is that's on Veronica Inside, like he had made some comments. I didn't look too deeply into the situation, but he made some jokes then, in his opinion,
Yeah, he could
that I
like there was a picture of Black Pete
And
on the screen,
matters.
and he made a joke. Basically, I'm paraphrasing. The joke was something of, yeah, it could be Akwasi, while the picture of Black Pete was
hmm
on the screen.
okay,
Yeah, so
make more sense. But basically, he made that joke, and then there was like the next day, he went on and he kind of doubled down on his thing, and he said like, "I stand by opinion." He just thought it was a joke type of thing, and then they had some advertisers pull in some stuff from them. Then there was a statement from the Oranje Elftal, the national Dutch soccer team.
Mm-hmm.
They had decided that they're no longer doing any interviews or allowing access to Veronica Inside to have any dealings with them. And then
Great.
I think there was some more that happened. I don't. There was supposedly the Johan guy. I think he's thinking about resigning or
retiring,
something at
yeah.
this point because of like all the backlash and criticism around the whole situation. So it's like just saying that it's not just change happening or pressure being put on certain corporations and institutions. It's like there's a
Everybody's
ripple
feeling it,
effect.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so this goes back to the original topic then. Is it our responsibility as groups of individuals who has a platform to be talking about those kind of topics?
Yes.
I mean, it would
Me.
benefit to bring light to it, especially if you have a massive audience, especially if you have some type of influence. Like even if your platform, whatever type of content you put out there, is not necessarily this type of content,
Hmm.
just just like would say before you get into your regular content, you just bring it up, say your piece on it, say where you stand, and then go about your business afterwards.
Yeah.
To me, regarding the responsibility, whether you have to or not, I feel it kind of depends on your platform and it depends on the topic, in a sense that, like, let's say for us, with our level of expertise, how much can we really say on COVID that would be helpful? That is one thing where I feel like in some senses it's the responsible thing to not interject,
Not.
especially because none of us are experts. Like the most thing we
Yeah.
can do is highlight it in general and be like, all right, well, based on our level of understanding of these things, we're looking at the WHO or CNN or
Yeah.
whatever actual proper institution it is that has the expertise, to me that is the responsible thing. If it's just like social issues and Black Lives Matter or something like that,
Mm.
we're all black people. We have an opinion on that. I feel like that is well within our realm, our
Yes.
wheelhouse, our level of expertise for us to give
Yeah.
actual somewhat beneficial opinion on, in my
Right.
opinion. It doesn't have to be everything. If we go in depth into health and nutrition and what is the right way to live, is like we have some level of understanding from our personal research and personal understanding, but it's like we not doctors or nutritionists. So Woods is a vegan guy that does a lot of research into health and food and stuff, so he maybe knows a little bit more than the rest of us. But even he has his limits and stuff where it's like he's not a nutritionist, he's not a doctor. It's like, so
Yeah.
take it with a grain of salt type of thing. That's, to me, that's the main thing when it comes to responsibility. Like, are you, just because you're talking about it doesn't mean you're helpful. Just because you
Mhm.
covering, like, there's a lot of misinformation out there,
Especially with
and
COVID.
yeah, like,
But I think it really depends also, like if you use COVID again as an example, like if you're just spreading information that you got. So if you're saying, okay, all the information that I'm going to present to you guys, I got it from RVM. So
mm,
so if you're doing that, then you're still spreading it, like it's information from people that are highly educated in the subject, and you're just passing it on to the rest of the public. Because you know a
are
lot of
you
people don't like to.
following, are you following APA guidelines basically? Like, are you living according to the APA sourcing guidelines?
Yeah, yeah. So if you're doing that, that's fine. You understand? But like if you're saying, yeah, well, I saw this thing on Facebook and it said eat garlic, and then you're not helping the situation. Then you're just
But
you're being
honestly,
my
like,
grandpa, like my mother and aunts, old people that believe everything you see on the internet. But
to be completely honest though, even regarding the COVID situation, I'm not 100%. Part of the reason I wasn't really sharing nothing on Facebook or nothing like that regarding COVID is I'm not even sure when it's WHO, when it's the RIPM and these things. Like, I'm not even 100% sure if I trust these organizations. Not to say that they intending to lie, but there have been conflicting messages at different times as
Like, oh
information is
yeah,
updated
yeah,
don't wear
and people
masks.
find out more. And
did
We
did
will
the
understood and this
yeah, Kana, put on a mask. Put the
headphones.
headphones.
yeah, man, my bad.
But I get that. Like I knew from the moment that with the whole mask thing, it was kind of bullshit. But I get why they said it. Because the main reason why they said it was they had a shortage of masks, and the government was trying to hog masks for the nurses and stuff like that.
But I mean, like, some of the confusion for me comes when you see certain conflicting things. For example, if the RAVM is saying something that's slightly different to the WHO, and not necessarily like when you have who's supposed to be the trusted institutions, but it's just different countries, different trusted institutions conflicting each other type of thing.
Yeah,
Like, that's when I feel some of the confusion comes in, because it's like, okay, I know, for example, I'm in the Netherlands, so I should be listening to the RIVM because maybe they know about the situation that happened specific to the Netherlands. But then it's like, I don't know. I just honestly have not been looking too deeply into it. I've been using some common sense stuff that I feel is the general guidelines that everybody been dealing with. Like, I wear a mask on public transportation because I have to, but that's pretty much it.
Which is
Well, I
which
mean,
is uncomfortable.
I mean the Netherlands is doing good, so it worked.
yeah, but people traveling and thing now. But anyway, that the whole thing.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
what I
But
wanted to go back to what Ward was saying. The whole thing about not saying something is saying something. I feel like that's kind of a dangerous statement, because what about those entertainment areas, or let's just move away from just podcasts. What about those entertainment areas that people go to for relief?
I get that. But you can still, if you use entertainment for a bit, look at Dave Chappelle, known as a comedian, still took the time, even though he's a comedian, and even though like you usually go to him to laugh and stuff like that, he brought some light to it. Mind you, I wouldn't even the special that he did was not. was not
It wasn't. It
comedy.
wasn't a
It
comedy. It
was
wasn't a
more a
comedy.
public address, and because just his the way he is and his mannerism made, even though I wasn't laughing because it was funny, but more of the irony of it that it was really like it was true, like it was just facts what he was saying, and
Hmm.
just the way he is made me laugh a little bit, but I wouldn't say it was funny, and not everybody can do what he did, but regardless, like if you if you're a black comedian, if you're a musician, if like cause you are especially living in the states, you are going through the same things that most black people go through, or you went through it prior to making it in life. So if you're not saying anything, then you're just and you're being the joker in the situation, like everything is good, like you're not even addressing it, not even in a short statement or tweet. I'm not saying we're not saying that you have to do it on your platform, but you gotta speak up in some type of way at least.
Why I ask that is because, or why I feel like that's a little bit dangerous of a statement, because, for instance, if you have a podcast and you have a following, but yet you don't necessarily have all your emotions or your feelings together, or you don't have all your information together, and you choose not to speak on it, and you choose to continue your regular content, that does not necessarily mean you supporting the other side just because you're not saying anything.
No, we're not saying yes, but if you stay the whole time without saying anything, yeah, you can take your time, take your thoughts, feel what you need to feel, and then make your statement. But if your statement is, for example, that you're not saying anything and you're just acting like everything's honky dory, use a white, everything's honky dory, then yeah, you're making a statement. If you don't say anything at all throughout the whole, especially if you live in again, because especially if you live in the states and the majority of your followers are American, like you not saying anything, say something. Like what's this guy's name again? I think his name is Marcus Brown. He does YouTube reviews. He's a
The
black
tech
guy.
reviewer,
Yeah,
Marquis Brownlee.
yeah. So even he like before he went to his regular stuff, he made a short statement, uploaded it. Didn't happen immediately, but it happened eventually. And like he just related it to himself. He looked at the industry. He was like, as a tech reviewer, like a lot of time, like you don't really think about, but now that I'm thinking about it, like I don't see a lot of people like me doing tech reviews. I'm one of the only black guy actually doing it, and you only notice it like sometimes I notice it like when I go to like these YouTube parties and I'm standing there and like yeah, I'm like it's only me, like he again I'm saying not everyone has to do it, but you don't have to. Okay, what I'm trying to say is when you don't say something, it looks like you are afraid that you're gonna lose a certain portion of your audience because you're afraid of supporting a movement because you do not want to bring politics into your product because then what I'm saying, when you don't say anything, that's how it's going to reflect because you're trying to stay neutral.
Question:
Yeah.
how do we feel about Drake?
What do you do?
Drake, no, like he didn't do nothing in particular, but that's kind of what I mean in the sense, like when you think about, because I don't know if y'all was aware of paying attention, kind of you might not be, I don't know, but there was issues with like J Cole and No Name, kind of around this
Yeah,
similar topic that we talking
yeah,
Yeah.
about now, of
yeah.
like when you don't speak up, like do you have to speak up? Because her whole issue, No Name is another rapper. She had issue with
I
people
hear.
like a J Cole, that
Yeah, I
basically
hear
you
you.
have this massive platform and you're not speaking out, when it's like if you tweeted out something, if you tweeted out this charity link or whatever, it probably could like help so much and people expressing their frustrations. And I just think on somebody like a Drake, whereas
Mm.
like Drake is like the biggest, highest selling artist, like at least rapper that is
Pop
profits off of the
artist.
black
Pop
community.
artist king. Pop.
Okay, cool.
Pop.
Listen, that's no problem with me. I have no problem not qualifying Drake as a rapper. I'm just trying to say, like, his relation to black music, black
Yeah.
people is a large part of kind of who supports him or like where he makes his money. But then it's like Drake been. I don't follow Drake on Instagram, so
But
I
you
don't know
Yeah.
if
see, but
maybe
you see
he
that
I
tweeted something
can't
out.
I can't
that
speak about Drake because I don't follow him.
they see
But the
that,
thing
but
with J. Cole,
that's part of the reason why I asked this question is because just why are we immediately demonizing people who not saying anything
no, but that's the thing.
when we
I'm not
don't know what
saying
they're doing on the front lines?
yes. That's what I'm saying. You don't demonize them, but if you use
No,
J.
but
Cole, if
that's
you
what
use J.
you
Cole,
but
no, but
that's what
if
you practically doing with that statement though.
no, but that's when I'm certain things. So, for example, with the whole J. Cole situation, right? With the whole um uh with the Miss
No
Soul,
name.
no
Hmm.
name coming up with that with what she said, but J. Cole was protesting.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, he didn't tweet. He didn't.
But it's still not known if that will happen after you was pressured and you got social pressure from people tweeting and stuff saying, "Where you at,
He
Cole?"
was no. J. Cole was protesting, but he was like people recorded him. Like he didn't even post him protesting.
Doesn't J.
He
Cole have
was
a
in
history
it,
of
huh?
this?
What?
Doesn't J. Cole have a history of doing this?
Yeah.
Ferguson was
Yeah,
another
J. Cole
example.
been out there. J.
So
Cole been out there.
the thing, and if you listen to the song that J. Cole put out, addressing this whole situation, it's
Mm-hmm.
like I get where she's coming from, and yes, he could have done the tweet and stuff like that, but like it also says something if you're just tweeting, but then being safe in your house and not like I would rather, especially if J Cole being J Cole, going into the crowds and protesting and being part of the protest than just tweeting about yeah Black Lives Matter and then making an empty because then he can actually he doesn't even have to do it,
But
but he can show
oftentimes,
receipt.
you
You
actually
understand?
showing up is less effective because then it becomes, oh, J. Cole is here and
Yeah, but
media
he
surrounds
yeah
him.
but he
Similar to what happens when Kanye
Mm-hmm.
and Kendrick be out there trying
yeah
to protest. When Kanye was out there, he was there for 30 minutes because it took away from what the protest was actually about. And everybody's like, oh, let's interview Kanye. Let's see what Kanye has to say. Let's put
I
mics in front of Kanye's mouth
I
and
get
hear from
what
the
you're saying.
celebrity instead of let's rally around George Floyd or Black Lives Matter or police brutality, which is the actual focus,
Yeah,
not Kanye West or J. Cole or Kendrick
I get
Lamar.
what you're saying, but again, it was not in a situation where J Cole was showing up as J Cole. He did his best to make sure that people couldn't recognize him. He was standing there with fucking mask on and everything, and there was a couple of people that actually noticed him, and they took out their phone and they pointed at him. But it was not something that he was on a podium
I
and
feel you. I feel you.
talking he was legit even telling people, yo, take away your phone. It's not the time. It's not the moment to do this type of thing. So
There's a legitimate debate that can be had as to which one is more effective. Are you tweeting and using your online platform or actually going out in the street? It's been a long standing thing because there's many people who just feel that marching and the protesting don't really do thing, and they feel the change happens more in a legislative type of arena, actually having policies made and those type of things. But to me, it's a simple thing where you need both. There is no one or
one
the
or the
other. They're
other.
both
Exactly.
legitimate forms of
Exactly.
protest, and
Actually,
you
you
need,
need all three.
No,
yeah,
but
I gotta add
you
not
social
need
media into
everyone.
that
Yeah,
as
not
well.
everyone
you
has to
need
do
people
exactly
tweeting,
the
you
same
need people
thing.
protesting,
Yes,
you need
yes,
people
yes.
putting pressure on the lawmakers and whatnot to change laws and all of
because
that.
because
Yeah,
I not gonna lie, I used to be like real hard headed on Wood's point. No, when I mean hard headed, I mean like I used to also heavily agree that yo doing a tweet or making a social media post or Instagram post, what the fuck that gonna do? That ain't doing nothing. Like I more respect those people on the front lines in the protests and stuff like that. But with this whole era, this whole COVID thing, people shutting down, people a lot of things shutting down. If you see how big of a role social media did have to play in this whole Black Lives thing, and had a role to play with legislation being passed and stuff like that. I do back down and be like, all right, cool.
yeah.
Social media,
It
it is an
it plays a
important,
role.
yeah,
Yeah, it does
it is a
definitely.
significant role as
It
well.
does definitely play a role, and I think just cause I wanted to make a link with Drake. Um, look, if you go to if some random ass person goes to J Cole and be like, "Yo, what the fuck you doing?" Blah, 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 blah. You ain't posting. You doing nothing. I don't even know if he posts. He made a song about this whole situation. So
Mm.
when it comes to J Cole, like at least if someone goes to him and be like, "Yo, what the fuck did you do during Black Lives Matter?" Like you could point out to the things that he did. With Drake, I have no fucking idea what he did. I haven't seen a post. I haven't seen a tweet. Man ain't drop a song. He dropped a song during COVID, but he ain't drop a song during back BLM. Although,
And
although that song was done prior to COVID even starting, he just had to release one
Okay,
song because
what do we call? Let me ask this question then. When it comes to Drake, what or when it comes to donating or supporting BLM, what do we count as support? Do we count donations? Do we count?
anything you do, regardless, cause like here's the thing, right? At the end of the day, an artist is not the end all be all. An actor is not the end all be all. The only people that can actually make change are the politicians and stuff like that. So if an artist comes out that has money and says they're gonna donate to Black Lives Matter, like or whatever, that's cool. Anyway, so I don't know if Drake did anything because it would be fuck because he's in a fucked up situation. Because if he donated and said that he donated, people can get on the ass. If he stays quiet and donates on the down low, people gonna be on the ass because he didn't say that he donated.
All right, so
If
just
like
a quick search. He did donate to NAACP and Black Lives
Oh,
Matter.
I was just about to say. Yeah.
so with
how much? Just curious. Before
Give me a moment. Y'all continue. I go see
so
if it declares that.
again, I think this my whole standpoint with this is if you benefited, if you're in an industry that benefits off of black people, I expect something from you. I don't expect something from hillbillies. I don't expect something from um uh country singers. Like I don't expect it.
But shouldn't we though?
I don't. I expect from R&B singers though. I expect
like
from jazz singers. I expect from
that's part of somewhat of the problem. Like I get what you're saying, and I do understand, and I kind of share the similar thing. Like there's certain people I'm just not expecting it from.
but
But
it's nice if
I,
when
they
it
do.
comes to Black Lives Matter, that is somewhat the problem. Like when you
but
think about police brutality,
that's my thing as
like
well.
it really, how effective is it if black people are telling black people not to kill black people, or it's wrong that the police
No,
kill,
yeah,
like when if we're not the ones who doing what is the problem type of thing, how effective is it if we the ones hearing the solutions and listening to the conversation type of thing?
no, yeah.
Like
I get what you're saying, but what I meant with I don't expect certain. So if they do it, cool,
that's where you
props.
need to see the
Yeah, yeah.
change. I'm saying that's all I'm saying.
And some of them did. Like even with NASCAR, if you go into like I would never. And this is what I mean.
Yeah,
I don't
that what catch
expect.
me off guard. I
So
ain't gonna
like
lie.
if it's
That
a company
NASCAR
that
thing
I
catch me
don't
off guard.
expect, does it? Cool. But I did not expect it from NASCAR. You understand? That's what I meant with it.
Yeah,
So
but you
companies
see,
that I don't expect it from, like if they do it, that's cool. But there's certain companies still owned by white people, for example, that I do expect it from, like Sony, like certain companies that benefited from black people that are owned by white people, like Comedy Central, like CNBC, like CNN. Like there's certain companies I expect it from because they have either black um anchors. They have their company already are due to black people. Like there's or at least black people contributed to it. Either viewers or they have very high paid actors or whatever. Certain companies I expect it from. NASCAR
and
has only one black rider,
and his
and
black
and they
and
did.
a lot of black people would question his blackness. But continue.
He's black.
Yeah.
He's Anyway, he's black. And NASCAR supported him. Don't forget that it wasn't that long ago that we had a black partner. Again, with these partner. Anyway, we had a black man kneeling on one knee, and a whole organization was trying to fuck this man over.
But
Because
I
that was the next thing I was gonna
Again,
ask you
I
all
don't
about.
expect certain companies to then come, but if they do, good, you learned. And if you don't, then we gonna fight you. You
I
understand?
don't
We
know.
gonna boycott you or what you. I still ain't bought shit in H&M, nigga.
Do you feel that the NFL wanting, or is them supposedly saying certain teams having interest in Kaepernick or signing Kaepernick? Do y'all believe it? Do y'all buy it? Do y'all think it's more hollow statements?
Biggs, I wish we could just open up a fucking GoFundMe and everybody put money to that GoFundMe and Kaepernick should never work in his fucking life again. My
But if the man
personal
wants to
opinion.
play,
If he wants to play, cool. You understand? But this man should never have financial problems because he needs to play in NFL. What this man did, most people would have never done. Never.
I feel you.
and the backlash he get for it too,
Yes. He should
and
he should
sticking and
never.
not only what he did. Nah, I cool. I do give him kudos for that. But what I really respect him for is sticking with it.
Doubling down on it.
Because a lot of people would make that stance and be like, "Wow, but I got family and this to feed. I got this to do. I got that to do. But all right, let me track back a little bit. I can't afford it still, but I still gotta get this money. And you can't blame them for having that stance either.
Yeah.
But this man stick through it, through whatever he went through. Granted, they are a little. I didn't do like 100% research of it. I did hear some things and check some articles. There are some shady stories of that whole thing on his behalf that I ain't too sure about.
Fuck those shit
But
stories.
with
I
in
mean,
in its totality, as in like him going what it actually was. Some crap about him actually like giving into the NFL or something along those lines. Like basically going and by staying quiet, he gonna get a certain amount.
hmm.
So if that is true, I don't agree with that.
Because
Like
all of that was some of what people was questioning from the NDA. The first thing, like when Kaepernick
yeah,
took the NFL
yeah.
to
You see,
courts and whatnot, there was an agreement made where it was proven that the NFL was colluding or whatever to keep him out type of thing. So he won the lawsuit, but there was some settlement that we never found out because there's an NDA attached to it.
Yeah. I think
and like
when the NDA is more tied to the amount that he received. Like he's not allowed to talk about what the agreement was.
but you see the other thing, we're not sure because I hear the opposite. I hear the
Yeah.
NDA was that he can't speak no more about anti NFL stuff. Period.
But he still does though. So I don't get where
I
this is coming
how,
from.
where
He's
how
still
I
talking about
haven't
Black Lives Matters and stuff like that. He's
yeah, but
not
I haven't
allowed
heard
to
him
talk.
speak anything about the NFL. His whole
He
thing
doesn't
was
have to anymore.
yeah, but as a whole thing, if you have them in such a position where they have to make a assessment on why take your neck off it, why take pressure off their neck, no.
The
So, but
pressure was
wow,
never no. The pressure was
that might be a
never.
real
The
bad
pressure was
reference in this
never.
day
Yeah,
time.
it actually was. Because the pressure, even let's just say the NDA was like, okay, we're gonna pay you this money and you like just let this cool down, die down. What the fuck he did? It's not gonna would not let it didn't change any situation of it, dog. It was getting so bad that they were bringing in Jay-Z to try to PR the ass and stuff like that to change
Yeah,
the measure. It did not.
but if the reason I fighting not like if you was the general, you lead in the army, you lead in the fight, you lead in the cause, and
But
all
he
of a
ain't
sudden you
stop
just go
talking
say
about Black Lives
bye.
Matter.
Okay, let me just go back in the middle there with the rest
But
of
he
them. 'Cause I
didn't.
don't want to get shot right away.
But
I
he
gonna
didn't.
lose motivation if I was sitting down next to you.
No, but he ain't stopped talking about Black Lives Matter. He wasn't talking about Black Lives Matter specifically of the NFL when he kneeled. He was talking about cop
Police. He was talking
brutality.
about police brutality.
He
Yeah,
did not
yeah.
stop talking about police brutality. So I don't know why. If what deal did he make with the NFL so that he could like, cause the deal would have to be specifically about him talking about police brutality, and he had to
But
stop talking
but
about it.
but
He did not.
I speculated on both sides. Cause on my side I don't
I
know too much as well, and on
Yeah.
your side we
No,
don't know too much as well.
this just reminds me of this whole Jay-Z being with fucking black man making money, so he has to be with the Illuminati and stuff. That's what this smells of, and that's why I don't like it. So maybe
I don't
that's
know.
why I'm
My
being a little bit
with
skepticism.
with my thing on it, my whole point on it is that if he did take a NDA for like a certain amount of money and he can't continue with his stuff, or it was certain speculation on that, to me that's a bit selling out. And that's why I say with everything I don't particularly agree with, but I don't have all the information either.
Yeah. I think the NDA again is just about the amount of money he had received, and that's why we don't know what the amount of money is. But yeah,
All
just
right. Do we believe anything do we believe the NFL? That was
fuck,
the central question.
fuck the
Corporate social
NFL.
responsibility. Like
Fuck the NFL. Yeah,
that's the theme of this episode.
yeah.
Nah,
I'm glad they come up. They finally learn that they're wrong. But fuck the NFL.
Do you think they learned that they're
No,
wrong though?
they did
Like
not. But
they knew what Kaepernick was kneeling about and turned it into the
yeah,
man is disrespecting the veterans or the flag
yeah.
or America. Like
yep.
But
from
right
jump they
now,
misconstrued the man intentions and what the protest was about and turned it into a bunch of nonsense.
yeah,
Yep.
I
Now they're
agree with
seeing the
that.
financial threat.
But
Hmm.
but but again, I rather they even begrudgingly learn, quote unquote, because I know they didn't. Then, because right now, because that's and the state. Not that I like the way this sounds, but this is basically what it is. You're either with us or against us.
Hmm. Because
You're
that
either
goes back to
Nah,
that
nah,
that goes
yes.
nah, yo, nah,
What do you
yo,
mean, nah?
nah, yo.
Because right now, the only way they're going to be changed is because look, right now, what are you fighting for? You're fighting for political change. The only way you're gonna get political change is you're the majority. So even if someone you don't agree with, because right now, what is the goal? Because the target you have to formalize on a target. What is the target? Police brutality.
Mm-hmm.
Are you with us or against us? The more people that are with us, the more likelihood you're going to see change. So even though you know this fucking person has alternative motives, if you can all agree on one thing, you're gonna get change faster. Look, just because,
the sad part is we all agree on police most at least most of us do agree when it comes to police brutality,
two
but
years ago they did not.
the change is where we differ.
Yeah,
Like how we affect change and where do we affect, because the whole defund the police thing and all of that been just going around, and there's mad people who are like saying it's a necessary thing, mad people saying yo this is the most ridiculous idea ever, because people not listening to each other in terms
yeah.
of what does the actual nuanced discussion mean.
But
Like with
that's
defund the police, people hearing okay, abolish cops, similar to with Black Lives Matter, people saying, but what about like what about black white people and this, like it turns into one of those things. Or when women say all men are trash type of things, like they don't literally mean all, but there's a large majority that might be like is one of those type of things, and that's where it's come now to like
yeah, but that's what needs to happen. For you have to have this type of discourse to then come
Yeah,
into a
but
consensus.
if I'm not in your way, if I'm not blocking you, if I just choose not to have opinion about this type of something, or I choose not to speak up about my opinion about it, that don't mean I against you either.
No, but if you the NFL, who the
Profiting off of black people.
majority of players are fucking black, you either with us, but that's why I'm telling you, certain people, like, I already knew the NFL was against us. But, and I already said it, fuck the NFL. But they know if they don't address this now, they fucked. You understand? You either with us or against us.
what do y'all think about what going on with the NBA and what Kyrie was trying to do to cause like a strike on for the players? Because Kyrie Irving was one of the people leading somewhat of a talk to be like, yo, if we just go back and play basically the same conversation we having today, of like his thing is us as NBA players playing in the league, all we doing is serving as a distraction, and people gonna forget about the cause, and we not the all the momentum and some of the ground that has been gained with all the protests and stuff like that. It can just revert back to normal, and people gonna forget about George Floyd and police brutality and whatnot if the NBA players. So he's trying to organize like a strike and get them to not come back,
I agree with
basically.
it. I agree with it.
You see, I feel this is one of the things that the message being lost because of the messenger.
What do you
Hmm.
mean?
For instance, if somebody like LeBron had said this and give the same intimate give the same sentiments and have the same feeling, it would have a lot more traction and would gain more thing than if
Then the
Kyrie said.
flat Earth person.
Yeah, the flat earth person, the fact that he's been being like, okay, granted, let's and
Yeah.
let me put this out there. I am not no basketball fanatic. This is all things I heard for other basketball fanatics and from read the little articles that I see online and the little other people that I listen to. Kyrie, from what I've been told and heard, Kyrie is not the most like people friendly of person.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's not very
One,
well liked.
two, it seems like he not only that, it seems like he does a lot of things for himself. So with that's concerned, the example was brought up. Yeah, he only saying this now because he had no way of possibly making the playoffs. Period.
He was injured, so it's like he don't have no
So yeah,
stake in the fight anyway.
you have no
He
game to play either if he had to come back. You wasn't
Yeah.
playing.
I
So
I
all of that I feel kind of get like
I get that, but
it's kind of
that
important
doesn't
to look into as well.
but that doesn't make what he's saying wrong though.
No, but that's what I'm saying. The message getting construed because of the messenger. If Hitler come and tell you all Black Lives Matter, you'll be like, "What the fuck?" But it's the message is still thing, but it's Hitler.
Yeah. Look, I feel that we are too accustomed of fighting every battle at the same time. And this is a problem that we have.
I explain now.
Yeah.
What I mean with that is, let's say right now, this person has a bunch of other problems, right? He says one right thing. I take people want to associate other people for what, like, for example, let's say King is a known misogynistic devil. Let's just say that for a second,
why me
right?
though? Why me?
That is the devil.
Because that's I don't know. You just come on. There's no relation to what I just said, people. I just make
Tell
it
them how
up.
you really feel.
Yeah.
I
That that
understand.
So
that is the devil.
and me and King never agrees, and my public is completely different to King's public, but we both socially known. And
Hmm.
there's a problem coming up, and King comes with an idea, and me and him are in agreement, but I won't agree with him because of his past doings. No, fuck that. If I want change, I take in everybody that agrees with me to fight, dog.
So again, so
This is
again,
wait.
I'm going to use this example. So you would take somebody like Hitler in the Black Lives Matter movement?
Yes, any fucking body,
Nah,
dog.
you sick.
Yo, it comes
You
down to
sick.
Yo,
I can't agree with that.
it comes down to solidarity, dog. When and I read this a couple of days ago. When back in the day when our grandparents and grandparents and grandparents, when our grandparents was fighting for rights in the working place, dog, it didn't matter what your politics was. It didn't matter if you're a racist or not. It was you against that company, dog. In solidarity. If you want to close down the company for 2-3 weeks, it doesn't matter who it is, black, white, Asian, everybody standing in the picket line until they get what they want. And
I
that's what
agree
our
with what's
generation missing right now, dog. We
I
missing
agree.
solidarity. So if one person in the NBA in this situation, it's not the LeBron of the NBA, but it is someone of the NBA comes up with
The
a
prob the
legitimate point.
problem is LeBron said we doing the opposite.
Yeah,
Like LeBron made it clear that it's like, yo, I'm not down for that. So it's like all the people who stand with LeBron, who fuck with LeBron because of his influence, his power, who LeBron is basically, is like there's a lot
this
more people
is
riding with LeBron than there is
this
with
is
Kyrie Irving,
this is the
and that makes
problem
it
in our
like
generation. Our problem in our generation is we lack solidarity.
But to me,
We do lack it.
it's not necessarily that like to me the issue is people want conformity. People talk about unity, but they mistake it, they misconstrue it with conformity. Where you see a lot of people saying, "Oh, you have to think exactly like I think," but it's like no, like to me, the only answer to changing a lot of solutions is cooperation. In both sense, the verb and the noun. In a
Yeah,
sense, corporations, to me, that is what is going to get black people out of poverty. That is one of the main issues, in my opinion, that faces black people. If you in a poor environment with lack of resources and all of these things, we need to change. Like class is a big part of where the race thing, in my opinion, gets misconstrued. So it's like, listen, Woods, you feel like this is the answer. Find another black person that thinks and agrees with what your answer is, and y'all two get on a group, form a corporation, and start making like working towards a solution. It could be a non-profit, but it's the same thing. You are working together to solve this one goal, and you could believe whatever it is you believe, but you agree on this one thing.
yeah,
Like you don't need to, and this person, the person you're working with could be a lawyer, you're a designer, y'all coming from two different fields, y'all don't think the same, but y'all agree on this one thing, which is the important thing. Let's say
yeah,
that is police reform, if that's what your organization is about, and you just the marketing person, this person is the legal person, but the main goal is police reform type of thing. Because people ain't never going to all agree on the same thing. Like we never gonna think the same. The only thing we could do is like issue by issue. That's why I agree with what Woods is saying. Like kinda what it sounds like what you more asking for is a uniformity. Whereas like Hitler, yeah, he's a fucked up dude, but he agrees with me on this, and that's all I need him for. I'm not trying to say I bringing you aboard to be my spokesperson or nothing, but I'm using your vote or I'm taking your donations because you supporting Black Lives Matter in this instance. It's like I ain't turning down your donations. It takes me back to like the charity that turned down donations from 6ix9ine. It's like how genuine are you about solving whatever problem your charity is about if you turning down donations from 6ix9ine? I understand he's a problematic figure. You might not want to be associated with him, but it's like the
But see, but that is a more difficult something because there's ramifications about taking money that had been come from legal aspects, and there's a whole legal thing that whole donation thing is concerned. I see what you're saying, but with that specific case, I feel like it is a little bit different. But you see, the thing is, all right, I get what are you saying, right? But I guess maybe this is a more principled matter for me. I can't see myself. I don't know, but I can't see myself like even like for instance, like same example. I think I can't see myself in a match, shoulder to shoulder with somebody like Hitler.
Okay,
Even though he thinks that one on this one topic, we might agree on this one topic. When you have a whole bunch of fuck that you do in the past, I sorry that there's some things
Hitler's
I can't.
is an
yo,
It
but
is
extreme
an
Kevin,
extreme
Kevin,
example, yes,
but
yes, but
would
they're going to
you?
have those. They're going to have those
Okay,
extremities as well.
okay. Let me pose this question then. King, you working? No, I mean Sean, you working in a factory, and you know that three other no, so it's 10 people working on your shift. You know four other people you working with are racist, but the company doing some bullshit fuckery right now, and everybody, the racist community, you guys, they fucking with us like they want to cut our pay. Let's strike. But the only way it's going to work if all of you are in solidarity with one another.
But I ain't gonna lie to
Are
you.
you going to
I would have to
strike?
think. I would have to think long and hard about that.
So you're gonna let the company fuck you in the ass then?
But I have to think long and hard about that. But because me, how my principle is in general, I'd quicker leave.
You can't leave that.
How you mean you can't leave?
No, your situation does not allow you to leave that.
But
You,
I would have to think long and hard about that one. I ain't gonna lie
Boy,
to you.
not me.
really.
Corporations are not people. I go fucking deal with the corporations first, and then with the racist shit we don't agree on that, I'm gonna tackle that afterward. But right now,
Yeah, that's
we agree
separate.
on this one thing. Let's finish. Let's check one problem off of the checking list, and then, oh, you think I'm not allowed to have rights. Okay, now I'm gonna tackle with y'all. But I attack
But
corporations first because most of the problems we have on this fucking earth is due to corporations to start. Dog. Corporations are the biggest problems we have. The reason why we have most of the problems on the world is due to
mm,
corporations.
I don't necessarily blame one specific thing. I believe it's a combination of both. But I see, I can understand your reasoning with that. I don't know, but honestly, I still have to think because I can't see, honestly, I can't see myself doing it.
Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying, but you're not gonna get anywhere if you don't work with people you don't agree with.
That is definitely true, and that's why a lot of people out there is bigger people than me because I I don't I don't know like okay cool like what she was saying, the Hitler thing was maybe a bit of a
It's very true.
drastic, is a bit of a drastic something.
Would you work
Yeah.
with
Let's
Kanye
let's
West?
let's do it more. What
Would you work with Kanye West?
if I would work with Kanye West
Yes,
because of
for a common goal, knowing that he supported Trump and all that.
If
mm,
Kanye West tell you he got 10 million or something like that to donate into your company, your business that you're trying to get started, do you take the money?
that's a good question. If I was like okay, better question. If Trump had offered me that money, I wouldn't take it.
No. Okay, let's just say in a hypothetical world, Trump is still the same person he was, but he believes in Black Lives Matter, and he donates money. He donates money for Black Lives Matter. Do you take the money? He's the same person. Still doesn't like Mexicans, but he thinks,
If I'm okay,
but he thinks that
wait,
police
wait, wait.
brutality is a problem.
Police brutality is a problem.
Yes,
And Trump has the same history with other races that he does now.
yes,
And I'm let's say one of the head organizers from Black Lives Matter.
yes, and he
Do
thinks
I
that police
take do I take the
brutality.
money from Trump? No.
Yeah, I would, and I would still be like, nigga,
To
you.
me, the shit Trump has done and how much he has gone against, let's say, the Mexicans and other races of minority, to me, taking that money would undermine any work we're doing socially when it comes to the psychological aspect of the community.
To me, there's another aspect basically as to why I might not take the money in that scenario, and to me is that
I
usually
mean,
leads to control slash leverage basically.
Mm.
Oh, you took this
I didn't
money.
even think about that.
No, it's quid pro quo. Quid pro. You know
Oh,
the phrase
quid
I'm trying
pro
to say.
quo,
Like
yeah.
Yeah,
you scratch your back, I scratch mine.
I
I
scratch
scratch
your
yours,
back,
you
you
scratch.
scratch.
You know what I'm trying to say. Like
but
I feel it in
yeah,
every
yeah,
aspect, but you know what I'm trying to say. Like
I get it, but I feel like we we've been programmed in a sense to be
Skeptical
skeptical of everything,
and cynical.
and that is also a reason why we in this situation to begin with. Because I
Yeah, but
this is the same thing with unions, that a lot of like companies paid politicians to demonize unions so that people don't trust unions, and now because there's no unions we have less um
workers' rights.
workers rights and influence.
Mm.
So like there's a lot of shit that we are in due to our skepticism to begin with. And I find in certain things like we just have to have a little bit more solidarity in a common goal, because we have to be more goal driven and not sometimes swallow our pride in a sense. Because I'm a leftist, I'm fucking left, and I've had conversations with friends that are left, and they be like, yeah, they don't want to work with this man, with this person specifically, because he's right, or his political views don't align with me, so I would rather not work with him on a common goal like Black Lives Matter. And I'm like, yo, we have to move past that, because that's you need to work with people you are in agreement with on a certain topic to even achieve a goal to start.
To me, it goes back to like what we were saying earlier in regards to like, do we need protesting, marching, people in politics? It's one of those things
is a
again
combination of
where
everything.
you need the segregationist, you need the integrationist. Like you need people who is like, yo, I don't like people who disagree with me. I'm just working with my own people, and we can just move in this direction. I'm not trying to
You need the
stop you
Malcolm
or get
and the
in your
Martin.
way. Yeah, but you go ahead, you go try and talk to them and work together with them. I'm gonna do my thing over here. Like you just need both people. Like you can't discount either side.
I agree with that as well because to a certain extent, okay, maybe not. This is a
Yeah,
selfish
but I
reason for
think,
agreeing.
yeah,
What were you saying? What?
because, okay, the only reason I'm saying this is because I seen people within our community demonizing people that are working with other people to achieve the same goal that they're trying to achieve. You understand? And that's where I'm coming from. So you're basically what you're doing is you're attacking the people that are trying to achieve the same goal as you are. Because they either did something to receive money from something or someone, but they are trying to achieve the same goal that you're trying to achieve. So you're making now within the own group that you have, you are now making in you're fighting within the own group the commonality that you have with one another, because
Yeah.
that's where I'm coming from. You understand? I'm not coming from, like,
No,
if you don't want to work with them, I get it, but don't demonize the people that are trying to achieve the
Yeah.
same goal
but
that
then
you
okay,
are.
wait. Okay, cool. You see what you're saying there? You see what you're saying there? That's basically what I saying with you not with people not saying
No,
anything
but then you're
about
not saying, no,
BLM.
there's a difference with not saying anything and having a different approach. You're not saying anything. You're not doing anything, saying anything. That's different from both people saying something but doing it in a different way.
Okay, yeah, no, you're right. You're right with
That's
that.
diff.
But
That's
no,
different, eh?
what I also was going to say. Crap, I forget my other main point. Anyway, I continue. Hopefully, I
Question.
remember.
Quick, Rashid, quick time check.
Yeah,
How
yeah. Go on.
long?
But
We
we
are
are
We are hour.
an hour and 11 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
all right.
Well,
We could start thinking, but damn it, I forget my wait. Jesus Christ. Um. Yeah. No. Yeah.
to me, like it's just one of those things. I agree with where Woods is coming from. We need more solidarity. We need more cooperation amongst people, but it's tricky because I know
Oh,
I know I'm more on the side of like I'm finding like-minded people and we gonna work together type of thing. Versus to me, I just feel, in my personal opinion, it's more a productive use of my time spending like, for example, talking to black people and like let's deal with our colorist issues and stuff, than me going to talk to white people and try to convince them to not be racist type of thing.
but
Like that's
you see but that's again. Well, if I remember what I was saying, is a personal something because, like, for example, if you're a person that cares about how things are being done rather than the end outcome, then
mm,
you're going to like what King would say, you're going to find somebody that has like minded. But if you somebody that don't care about how the end goal is being
mm,
thing, then you're gonna work with somebody like Woods. Because, like, for instance, if you don't care how your 10 million was made, then screw it. You could do it. You can be either be doing drugs, you could be doing human trafficking, you could
mm,
steal, you could
mm,
rob, things like that. It depends on your moral principles. I care about how that money is being made. I would care where that money coming from, because my principles and my values is a certain way. So I'm not going to take money or take anything from somebody who's complete opposite. I'm not going to work with a rapist or a murderer, even if okay. I'm not gonna work with a
Why are
rapist
you always going
even
to
if
such extremes, that?
no, because
Jason, what were you
that's
saying?
what a lot of it is. I understand where you're going. I understand where you're going from Woods, where it comes to like the little differences. Like if I Democrat, Republican, that shouldn't matter if we all working for police reform. I
Yeah,
understand.
that's where I'm coming from.
I understand
That's
that. I
where I'm
completely
coming
understand
from.
that. But what I also saying is that we have these extreme cases where they're saying we have these extreme cases where the fucking let's say we use the states for example, where one of the Supreme Court judge is a rapist
Yeah.
or is a child molester, but yet he coming out in the community doing community service and the community supporting them and all kind of stuff like that. Where do you fall with that then? Do you still work with this person because they're doing good work in the community, or do you condemn them because they fucking up the community at the same time? If you going around raping children and stuff like that, you fucking the community at the same time. Literally, you fucking the community.
Yeah, but
So
again,
like we have those situations in society. Like
yeah, but I'm
it's not that big of a extreme example.
yeah,
So
but
that's
when it
my whole thing
comes
is you have to draw the line somewhere,
yeah,
or at least
but
I
when
feel so.
it comes to BLM specifically, it's a
George
government.
Soros.
It's a government institution it's a government-owned institution fucking up the people.
Yes, but what we
So
failing, but what we a lot of people just forget. People run that, dog. It is an organization, yes, but the
yes,
people are in run of everything.
yes,
People are in charge of everything, dog.
yes, but it's your tax dollars. So at the end of the day, I get when it comes to certain topics. Yes, look at the people's background. Look who you fighting with. But when it comes to BLM specifically and cops to cop brutality specifically, you can't be too picky who you standing next to. Because if it was just you standing in a in a crowd of people, you don't know what these people do. No, you're going to check everyone you're standing next to. You could have been standing next to a killer. You don't know. But in that moment, you're in solidarity. So why, like, again, you can't go and check everybody who you're in solidarity with because that does not exist. It doesn't make any sense. Are you going to vet everybody you're standing with? That doesn't help your goal at all. Because everybody did some type of stupid shit.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
just
but there's
because
a
someone is
difference
in the
between
public, yeah,
there's a difference between
yeah.
doing stupid shit and like being
Some
pure
some
evil.
people some people did some pure evil shit, but you don't know about it. He your best friend.
Yeah, that
Again,
could.
this is another issue where I feel like is a moderation thing. Is both of y'all right? Again, like
But
that's the central
it's true.
theme of what we're on today. You
But
need some skepticism, but you need the solidarity in certain moments. It depends. It's a case by case thing. It depends
Yeah.
on the
Yeah,
situation, what cause, who are we talking about, how much money or what kind of support. Like,
yeah. I think it's just my whole perspective is just if it's you against the government, like I get you have your stuff, but right now we fighting bigger things, because these people killing people and they just walking away scot free. You
because I
understand?
feel like Woods, you come in more from a Congress, like a political landscape type of perspective, where it's like let's put left and right aside and let's solve the problem type of thing. Versus, I feel kind of thinking more like a march, like donations type of thing, and both approaches, both ideologies are valid in the different scenarios, and
Mhm.
that's where some of the hang up is, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I guess we could say so.
So
It's
See,
true.
yeah,
I just get to bring unity. That's all. I
Yeah,
just
yeah.
trying to bring us
It is.
together.
I disagree. It is. I disagree with Woods because in those small aspects, it's true. Like, and what King was saying as well. If you can't always, if you always go in with people you agree with, the actual problem would never solve. The conversation would never happen. Seeing the differences and talking about the differences will never come. But at the same time, you can't just be fucking matching with every Tom, Dick, and Harry either. But
yeah.
Hmm.
But I
I
just
guess,
yeah, I get it. I get it.
I
yeah.
feel I feel like that's a good place to end this conversation and realizing that unity is key, like cooperation. Then let's not use unity because
Solidarity. That's the
And
perfect word.
I think more or less I think well, I guess what the main bring back or the main topic was I guess everybody could somewhat agree with that we do have somewhat of a social responsibility to bring up the stuff that going on around us, especially if it does affect you or if it does play some kind of
and
factor in
again,
your
as
life.
long as it's within your wheelhouse, as long as within your realm of expertise, and you actually know what you're saying without further worsening the problem in some ways by adding or spreading
Hmm.
Like
misinformation.
the 5Gers out there, you know who you are.
Let's oh the flat I put the flat earthers there too. I'm sorry.
My
But at least the
like
flat earthers ain't killing people and burning down things.
Okay.
They
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
believe the earth is flat, man. They're harmless.
Fine.
They're harmless, man.
I would say there's something else less too, but I ain't gonna disrespect nobody. But yeah, I think King, right? I think we could pretty much end this here, fellas. I have no plugs. Rashid, you got any plugs? Rashid got no plugs. Woods, you got any plugs?
Uh,
Woods.
I can
You can tell the
finally,
people.
yeah,
You can
yeah,
tell the
yeah,
people.
yeah. I finally am gonna drop a track next month. The song is just me. Like, if you think you know me, like you listen to the song and be like, yeah,
It makes
it
sense.
makes sense. I hope you
Like, and
guys
that was one
enjoy
of
it.
the things. I was privileged enough to hear the song he's referencing, and I can also co-sign it. I'll say the song is very Woods. It is indeed a very good song, though. Like y'all might think of Woods. If you enjoy Woods' contribution on the podcast, I feel like you'll enjoy the song. You might be surprised because, like I told him earlier today, I was genuinely impressed. I didn't know, I just woke up, saw the song, had no expectations basically of what it was gonna sound like, and I was like, oh, okay then. Got some bars in there. Like I want to spoil the surprise, but got some bars in there.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, and I'ma just say, make sure to go stream the Mistuh King LP, and yeah, I'm working on some new music as well. Hearing what song had me inspired to get back in the booth a little bit and thing, and I was trying to finish up a song that I have that Woods produce and whatnot. So that coming eventually. I ain't gonna release that song ain't done, and they probably gonna go on a project. So I don't think I'm just gonna release it as one song. So that's somewhere down the line, a couple months from now and stuff like that. But be on the lookout for new music eventually. In the meantime, stream the Mistuh King LP. And with all of that being said, I think that's it. So, peoples, we appreciate you listening. Make sure to like and subscribe if you haven't already.
Yes,
There's
sir.
there's the Spotify version for those who want to hear audio only.
Also, Apple Podcasts.
Yeah, and a host of other
All those
platforms and
places.
stuff. Yeah. So, with all of that being said, people, thank you for listening, and we'll see y'all the next time we link up.
Peace.
Peace.